Hi, so this is the third part of the video for this week. And we've been talking about love. We've been talking about San Valentine, and yeah, you know, how to celebrate San Valentine or at least love. And yes, I've been saying that there is all different types of love, and for me, I think they are all important. They are just as important. Maybe some stages of love are more important than others. For whatever reason, you feel the feeling of love have to be more active or more present in that stage of the relationship. And I'm not talking about an intimate relationship. It can be anyone. It can be parental. It can be family in terms of love to your parents, and it can be very different. But I think they are all important. I know a lot of people wouldn't agree, but I think for me they are all important. And I'm going to explain why a bit more in detail. But yeah, as I say, this video from this person, the video El Amor por Darío, and the surname I have spelled before, I think well, it was very good for me to see how to approach this subject, and it's very important to me because in this video have been the main approach is philosophical, definitely. However, it being contrast, initially it was starting to contrast with other approaches, biological or psychological, or purely biological, or purely psychological. It's difficult to, well, they conclude in the video that it's difficult, and then they focus on the philosophical approach, which I do agree. Because I'm not gonna say it's not for me. I'm not gonna say it's not purely biological. It's not purely psychological because I don't have the particular details, obviously. But I think for the purpose of this video, I think I'd rather focus on a more conceptual. For me, it's not even philosophical in the pure term of what is existence, because it's not coming from an internal thinking of what love means, but for me, coming from what I see around. So I try to involve the reality, really, and that is important for me. That's important for me because it was a very confusing between what I could hear, what I could experience for myself, and what I could see other people experience around me. And I just prefer to take everything, and why to leave something aside when I think everything is involved, in one way or another. So I prefer to embrace, to include everything that, every part of life, in this feeling of this idea of love, and yeah, as I say, contrasting the reality, it have to be at some point you have to contrast what you hear and what you feeling, and then in a maybe more analytical way to start evaluate what you see around you, to have a more conceptual kind of idea about what love means for yourself, because as I say, it's very personal. Understanding. It's always going to be very personal experience. And passion, why passion for me describe love? For me, passion describe love because it's, in love there is a lot of emotions involved, a lot of emotions. But you cannot name on my phone. Just it's gonna. So yeah, love, passion is, I think, in my opinion, is the best word I can describe love, the concept of love, because, as I say, there is so many feelings that are named or listed in this expression of love. It's difficult. It's difficult to list every single one, but also it's difficult to experience every single one, and all the time. Some people will experience some feelings, and some people won't, or maybe feeling for some time, but no, in different stages of love. And who say is love or is not love in a different stage? You feel it's love. Is love. So I think passion, because passion, it could be, it could involve very positive feelings. It could be not so positive feelings, but it's still, it's pinpoint, encapsulate this idea of emotional activity, and definitely there's a lot of emotions in love. And also personal understanding, because always it's going to be very personal of your experience. So yeah, personal idea, understanding of passion, I think describe, in my understanding, describe very well, quite well, this concept of love, in general terms. Passion is still emotions, but in a more conceptual kind of term, and I think you have to go to that more general or conceptual side to be able to explain love in general terms, and to not put aside any type of love, which I think, as I say, for me is as important, and I'm gonna explain why. I watched that movie, Friends with Benefits, and I watched it, and the mom of the ghetto, the main character ghetto, there is a boy that is a main character, and there is a girl that is a main character, or male or female, if you don't want to just very how you call it, if you don't want to give a social title or anything, or two persons, you could call two persons, and that's all. And one of the two persons, main characters, the mom, was always was never reveal the father details, who was the father of the one of them, or the person, the girl, or the female, or the lady. Use the term that is better for you. And never reveals, and she was playing about that, I think, maybe just to take a bit of the seriousness about that, and also because, I don't know, in the movie, maybe indicate that maybe she didn't entirely know, which is possible, and it's perfectly acceptable. It doesn't show in the movie clearly why is the reason, but she plays a little bit with that, and she says this person or this person, and it's always in a very humorous kind of way that she speaks to the daughter. And then one day they were talking about more seriously, because the daughter was, one of the main characters of this romantic relationship, which is a friendship, actually. And there you go, there is love for everything, in every way. And she was in a more, maybe more existential kind of mood, And the mom, I think she gathers that in the conversation, and she was a bit more serious about talking about that, but without, obviously, still without revealing the details of the biological father. And at some point, she said, my real love, if you want to know who my real love is you, said the mom to the daughter. And it makes me quite emotional right now, because that's what I feel with my mom. I think she is my real love, I don't know if that's going to be in a year's time, in a month time, in a week time. Things, life change, but she has been such an important person in my life, and the relationship has been so satisfactory, I have enjoyed so much the company of my mom, the conversation, and this maternal kind of response from her, protective, and maternal as well, and friendly as well, that I definitely, I feel that if I have to choose one love of my mom, of my life right now, I will have to say my mom, really. Yeah, definitely. I think every love can be just as satisfactory, whether it's, nuns and priests maybe think God will be the most important love, It could be the same for your children or for your parents, from friends, why not? Universal love, any kind of love. And some people maybe don't agree, and they think the love of a partner is different. I don't think it's necessarily different. Maybe it have different aspects within this general spectrum. It maybe have different aspects, but it could be just as satisfactory. In that sense, how fulfilling can be that's the goal. The goal is love of being emotionally fulfilled. I think any kind of love can be just as fulfilled, as long as genuine, as long as it's a real love, not because you say it's your parents, you have the best love is your parents because you have parents. No, of course not. It's not gonna be in every relation. You have parents, and they don't have to be the love of your life. And you have friends, and they don't have to be the love of your life. Obviously, if you have a partner, you would think they are the love of your life, because otherwise, why would you be in that, in that commitment? So obviously, it will be more often. That's for sure. It will be more often. And if there is a relationship, probably the person that is more important for you will be your partner, probably. Because obviously, just for the fact that you can choose them, it's not someone that is circumstantial or, it have been put in your life. It's someone that you have choose to have in your life to that level, And you are given the title, that title, and it's your choice to give it. So obviously, it will be more often your partner. But I think in terms of fulfillment, emotionally, I think any love can be just as fulfilling. And in that sense, I think every love is just as important. And then that's why we cannot say it's entirely biological, I think that would be a good example that it's not entirely biological, Is you going to the physical side? Is you going to the psychological side? Well, it's more difficult to say that it's not purely, wouldn't be a good example, but there is other examples, that will show you that there is a lot biological impact on it, so you can say, I'm not going to say whether it's one or the other, it doesn't matter, as I say, my approach is no biological, it's not psychological, it's not even physiological either. It's more about, I just want to know what's going on in life, really. So I would say it's more pragmatic. There you go. That's the my approach. And that's not a science. That's not a science. If I want to go with a science, a type of science, I don't know what the school of science I could go with anyone. There is any school of science. The school of life, I would say, school of life is a big school. I don't know if there is academical school for my approach. I don't think so. I'm breaking all the academical schools rules, that's for sure. So maybe academically, no, there is no an approach that can fit into my personal approach. But at the end of the day, it's your personal approach, Maybe, I don't know. I really don't know. Because I don't think there is one. Maybe some people will say psychological, because it's the way you understand it. And maybe it can fit into that side. But then it will be a very... I don't know. It will be a psychological approach, but in a very... yeah, I suppose it will be psychological. A lot of people will say it's psychological. But biological psychology, there you go. We can find the two together. Biological psychology, maybe. Could be the academic approach. And use them. And it doesn't matter really what approach you use, as long as you know what it means for you, And I think for me, it makes sense to see it in that way, because that's the way I experience, It doesn't matter what I want or what I was expecting, and as I say, the ideas that I was hearing. But this thing, sooner or later, you have to go what also, you have to include what you experience, And yeah, as I say, obviously stories are going to have an impact. Of course, they're going to have an impact, as the person in the video say. Of course, yeah. I mentioned Cyrano de Bergerac. That's a story, In the video, they made other more important stories, like the Bible, really, with Adam and Eve, Eve and Adam, and other more Greek stories and any type of stories that are mentioned and are quite important in philosophy, and definitely everything is going to be important. Definitely literature and any stories are going to be important, because that's what your first understanding is going to be around, and with that third person opinion, or way to see it, from third person, obviously, because you haven't probably experienced yet, or you haven't thought how you experience, because you maybe have, but then is you when you start thinking about, it's in a more conceptualized, and when you are conceptualized, you have to involve the two sides, the external input from these stories, the third part understanding, and your personal experience, And that I would say that's everything I have to say about San Valentine, which is maybe just it's only the format of this more emotional experience that is talk about love, So I suppose that's everything, as I say, it's very personal, but I would say passion is very important. It's very important. Passion is very important, because whatever you feel passionate about that, there is a possibility to emotional fulfillment. And in that sense, I would say it's important to consider what you are passionate about, What is your passion? It could be, as I say, it could be your child, it could be your mom, like in my case, And is emotional fulfillment take the form of, parental love, or child, love, or friendship, or universal. I would say embrace it, because there is nothing more fulfilled than emotional fulfillment. So yeah, that's my take on love. So I don't know if that help in any way. I have tried to be as specific as possible, but as I say, it's very complex, and there is no other way to explain it. There is no there is a lot of ways to explain it, but I just say there is no other way to see it. It's very complex. Definitely, it's very complex, and I think it's important to include all that complexity, but at the same time, to simplify that complexity in the terms that you can identify and that you can apply as well, to be able to materialize, or to make alive that emotional part of love, that you are experiencing. And I think it's very important to recognize that it's an emotional, have an emotional aspect, but at the end of the day, you have to be materialized, and materialized can be materialized in different forms, and as I said before, the other person doesn't even have to know it, it could be, you can sing a song when you are all alone, you can write a poem, you can draw a heart in a wall, which I find that it's sweet, to be honest, quite endearing as well, or you can dance alone, but thinking about a particular person, or maybe not even thinking or writing a poem or know any kind of art, but you just feel it, and it's, as I will maybe do, is just have a nice conversation with my mom, and I think that's, was very enjoyable, So yeah, in any way you can fulfill your emotional, you feel fulfill emotionally, embrace it, definitely. And yeah, I think I should leave it here. That's my taken, and that's my San Valentine celebration for everyone. So just to say, be safe, be well, and I see you next week. Bye now.